Hello everybody and welcome to another Uniko video with me, Bev, the owner and designer of all things Uniko. Today I have a sweet colouring video to share with you, an idea that I came up with. It's not a new idea, it's been around for a while, but I've added a little twist to it. So it's a one layer colouring idea, and I was actually introduced to this idea by one of the Uniko brand ambassadors. I think it was Anita who shared it, and it was using one of our spring botanicals stamps, probably the daffodil, something like that, or even the crocus, whereby instead of colouring the actual image, you mask off the image. Here I went ahead and created a mask. This time I've made it from printer paper, copier paper, so it's quite thin, mainly because I'm all out of my masking paper at the minute. And you fussy cut it out and then obviously mask off your stamped image, and then you can blend the colour over the top. So I love that idea because I'm not one for colouring all the time. I get quite impatient and want to have colour down quickly. So I thought I'd add a little bit of a twist to it today and use the Organically Zesty, or the Zesty layering stencils that came back in stock recently. I've been thinking of an idea to use them, and I thought I'd pair them with the Organically Zesty stamp set. I've chosen the lemon, lime, it could be as well, image from the set, and it comes with this lovely other orange sort of bloom image as well here, and these fun sentiments. And I'm going to go ahead and, instead of applying a flat colour blended, I'm going to use the stencil to create a fun background behind this stamped image. So it's just sort of another take on applying colour fairly quickly, but with a bit of detail as well. And it's a great idea if you want to have a one layer card as well for like mailing purposes, because you could go ahead and literally stencil your background and then fussy cut your image out and stamp over the top and adhere it. But if you wanted a completely flat one layer card, this is a really good idea and way of adding colour. And there's so many possibilities, so many stencils and things about these days, with patterns and all sorts of layering options. But I don't think I've actually ever shown the layering Zesty stencil in a video before, so that was a good opportunity as well. So I've just applied some removable adhesive on the back of my image here. It doesn't have to be super secure, because you are going to be putting your stencils over the top. But you do want your mask to stay in place. So I was just moving that over the edge because I don't want the adhesive stopping. So the Zesty layering stencil comes in 4 layers. You've got these shapes here, the circles and the half circles, to represent the fruit, and then the fruit cut in half. And then you have the next section that fits inside, which has the segments, which layers, hopefully you can see. And then the next layer is the detail. So if I put it behind, you'll see the detailing. And then this last one is like the juicy fruit splats, which is a fun infiller afterwards at the end. but you don't have to. You can miss certain layers out. You don't have to use all layers. But I thought I would just show you today this stencil in action, because it is quite, I think, good fun. So I'm just placing it over here. I've got some Scotch tape. I'm just going to hold it in place. And I've already tested out my idea just to make sure that it worked. So it did. It came out nice. So I've already chosen my colours today. I've got them all prepared. As usual, I am using Concord and Ninth. This is Sprout. And I'm just going to mask off with some spare copier paper, just so I don't get the half circles, too much sort of mixing of the colours. I want to keep them quite separate. So I'm using the Sprout on the circular images. Now I've chosen yellows and greens because I'm thinking that this image from the Organically Zesty stamp set can be either a lime or a lemon. It is shaped that way that it could be either. So that's totally your preference as well, which you see it as. The name implies that it is called Organically Zesty. So the style of drawing is one of my original styles that sort of set me apart from other companies. I have some other stamps in the organic range. There is Originally Organic, Originally Organic Editions. There is Organic Wishes, and obviously then I added this one as well. So there is one theme that runs through all of the organic sets, and that is the sentiment font. So a lot of the sentiment fonts can be mixed and matched throughout the organic series. Just another thing I thought about way back at the beginning about how I wanted to get sort of more bang for your buck out of stamp sets, that sentiments could be interchangeable and work throughout a series. And it's one of my favourite styles of drawing, but it's one that I haven't done for a while, so watch this space. I might expand on it. I did do it for the exclusive set. I used that style of drawing for the exclusive set that I did for Craft Stash earlier, that came out earlier in the year. It featured in the Picked Posies collection a little bit, but more so with the Paper Craft Society box, which I believe is still available on the Craft Stash website. And the butterfly and florals are drawn in my signature style. So again, those will coordinate lovely with what's in the Originally Organic range. So there, I've finished with the Sprout. I've done quite quick blending today. I'm not taking too long to colour one of Callie's hairs, because you're layering up the colours. You want it solid, but you don't need it overly solid, if that makes sense, because you are going to be applying more detail on top. So you want to start with your lightest shade. Now I'm using Concord and Ninth inks here, but in the past when I've used layering stencils or layering stamps, I often turn to my Alt New inks because they come in sets of 4 and you don't really have to think about choosing different inks that will work, then that you can layer up, because they already come, I'll show you, they already come in a set of 4 with different, going from light to dark. So these are obviously grey, but there's yellows and greens and pinks, all the colours, and it makes it really easy for layering stamps and stencils. So in the past I have often turned to theirs when it comes to layering, but when you get to know a brand of inks, you sort of learn what colours will blend and layer over the top of each other to give nice results. And here I'm using Buttercup for this first layer. And then I will get to the second layer. Now, obviously, I've made this set to look like fruit, these stencils, but the shapes and the patterns are really good fun to use on their own as well. There are a few examples on the website. The product page for the layering Zesty stencils, there's a couple of examples where I have only used a couple or one of the stencils on its own. You can have really good fun with these shapes. And then there's one last one down here at the bottom. You could use smaller brushes. I do have a few. My brushes do need a good clean. Some of my smaller ones get used a lot and I need to clean them, so I didn't want to contaminate my colours too much. So there is the lighter colour, and you'll get a feel for what the look I am going for. I told you this tape is stickier, this Scotch tape. It's supposed to be removable, but it's quite a sticky one for this one that I think I got it from a different company off Amazon than I normally do. So it's fairly easy to line up these stencils. So there is a little bit of a border left on the solid shape once you apply this one over the top. But again, you want it to sit inside, but if it doesn't quite match up, again, it's about adding your sort of own spin and your own uniqueness to it, and you want it to look handmade. So if it is not 100% perfect, then don't worry about it. It's handmade card. So I'm just quickly going in here. The shapes are a little bit smaller, so I don't have to mask off as much. I'm just trying to be careful and keep my ink centered. I think this one is purely over the mask. There might be a tiny bit that goes over the edge. So I am still doing it just to make sure, because we want a nice pattern that will appear below the stamped image and peek out from around the edges. So this colour here, I'm layering parsley on top of sprout, which is a slightly darker green, one of my favourites that I turn to. I never used to be a lover of green, but it is growing on me a lot more. And yellow was a colour that I wouldn't use a lot either. So then I'm going to go over the lemon segments with sunflower. And I had used a yellow for one of my smaller brushes, so that came in handy. So this is a fun technique and one I often turn to when I'm not in the mood for lots of colouring but I want colour and I want to add it quickly. So both of these products are in stock. I was so pleased to finally find another stencil manufacturer. So the one I've been using recently, they wouldn't do any more layers than 3, so hence trying to find a manufacturer that would manufacture me 4 layers. So the stencils and the Organically Zesty are back at the 190 micron mylar compared to the 300, which some of the newer stencils have been manufactured at. But they're still good quality, still durable, and it's a thickness that a lot of companies use. I was surprised when I got some of my newer designs done, and they are a lot thicker stencils, which have their benefits, but then it has its drawbacks as well. But yeah, so they are sort of slightly thinner, but they're still good quality and durable. And yeah, I'm just pleased to have this design back in stock again because it is good fun. So this is the detailed layer, which fits inside the segments, and I'm just lining it up as best I can. And I'm going to go in again with a darker shade. So for the green, I've got evergreen, so I've gone for quite a dark colour, and this is where I am trying to use my smaller brush just to get inside the smaller areas of the stencil. And you could go back if you wanted to and add sparkle to layers, which I've done in the past. Especially this layer, you could do your ink in and then apply some, you could either heat emboss through, or you could use a clear embossing paste, which would look lovely, just to give it a bit of juice and pizzazz and a bit of a lifelike juiciness to it. I will show you my first example when I've my test card when I've done all 4 layers, sorry. And then for the lemon segments, I chose spice cider because it really stands out against the yellows. And another colour that I wouldn't normally reach for, but I'm quite loving at the minute. Nearly done. So this video is a little bit quicker than the last one, but thank you for everyone who watched my videos. I'm glad you enjoyed watching the technique. I really enjoyed doing them cards, and I'm loving this one as well. So it's starting to come together here. So the last layer is like the splatter, and it just fills in some of them gaps. I mean, it's not 100% necessary, but I just think it's a nice addition. And it is designed to fit round these shapes. So I'm just lining it up here. And again, so last time, I'll show you this card. So here, this is the first card I did just to test the idea and make sure that it looked fun. There's still a bit of removable adhesive on the image, but I went through with an aqua colour. I didn't apply any ink to my brush, I just used what was on it, And then I added some sparkly embossing paste, the what's it called? Where is my, I thought I'd left it out. I think it's Moonstone Glimmer Paste, but oh, there it is. It's this one, the Nouveau Glimmer Paste. It was like gold dust, this stuff, and it's the Moonstone one. It gives a lovely, lovely shimmer. I got mine off Amazon. If you're still having trouble, I did manage to find, and it wasn't that long ago I ordered some. And it adds a beautiful glittery shimmer. But this time, which was lovely, but I thought it was a little bit too much, so this time I'm just going to add the aqua colour. And again, I'm not going to ink my brush. I'm just using, as you can see, this brush has been well used, because I want the colour, but I don't want it too intense. And I'm just using what's left on the brush. Obviously, if this brush hadn't been used much, you might want to dab it in the ink a little bit, and then you could brush off to the side. But this brush has been well used with this colour, and I know that there is enough just to add the splatter, the juice effect in the background. And there we have it. And then all there is to do now is just remove your mask. It doesn't matter if it tears like it happened with my first mask. And then you can just rub over to remove any of the temporary adhesive. And you could add a sentiment to it if you wanted to, down the bottom, or you could leave it plain. But that is my fun, sweet colouring technique with a little juicy twist. So where's the sentiments? Let's have a look. We could add, I just want to squeeze you. I think that'll fit nicely down the bottom here, keeping it a one layer card just to finish it off and make it a nice sweet card that you could send to a friend that you haven't seen for a while, or if you haven't seen a loved one for a while. I'm just going to add it down the bottom here. And there we have it. So have fun with this technique. I hope you give it a go. Let me know if you do. If you're on social media and you make a card, just tag me or tag me in a comment and I'll pop by and have a look. And thank you for joining me today. Hopefully this video is a nice shorter length for you. See you again soon. Bye.